Well, hello again, friends and fans. Raptor here, and welcome back to Cossacks 3. Somewhere in Europe, there is a wall that separates the Russians from the Ukrainians. 5,000 versus 4,000. Who do you think is going to win? Down below in the comment section, let me know. We've got 5,000 Russians versus 4,000 Ukrainians. The Russians outnumber the Ukrainians, as you would imagine, but the Ukrainians have a little bit better technology. So let's see who wins here as we fight a battle in about the size of a shoebox. Go ahead and hit that like button, set up a line, and obliterate it, shoot it, blast it away. Thank you very much for showing your support to the channel. Now, let's go ahead and get a Circle 7 down below in the comments section for all these troops about to fight and die here. And of course, rip to our first casualty here today, the frames. Oh yes, the frames are going to drop, but so are enemy soldiers here as we try to get nearly 10,000 men into the size of about a shoebox. All right, without further ado, let's get started. The Ukrainians reacting to the impending Russian invasion, and all troops are coming up here now for a initiated counterattack, or at least some sort of a defense. Ukrainians are getting here first. Let's get the Russians up. Let's see who can win here. All right, Russians coming in for an attack as well. Let's go ahead and see who wins here. The Ukrainians are going to push all the way through into the shoebox. Oh man, look at this. They're all being funneled into the space of about a mid-sized sedan, or at least, wow, look at this. That is as tiniest space that I can imagine here as forces are pushing in. The Ukrainians now arriving. Here come the frames. Rip to them as the parade of death begins. Wow, look at this. All the blue troops getting into line and all the red troops pushing in. Let's see how it goes here as the Ukrainians are already lined up. The Russians trying to get through the gate. The Ukrainians defending. Here we go. The Russians are pushing in. Oh man, look at all the reinforcements both sides have. You can, it looks like two whale tails trying to push into this if you're looking at the mini-map, and it looks like all the reinforcements are being funneled in here. Look at this insanity. Now don't turn away, don't go anywhere, as we're about to see the winner here. The frames may be dropping, but so are enemy troops, so things should speed up here in just a moment. We see a lot of Ukrainians getting out on the side. I think they're taking some sort of a tea break. Look at this Russian juggernaut, this monstrosity of red color just pushing into the line here. Are the Russians going to push through? They're getting a lot of reinforcements. Ukrainians are starting to fall as well. You can see their forces being pushed into a small little ball. It looks like two cartoon characters from the 80s fighting like a cat versus a dog. And indeed, that's what we're seeing here today as two nations try to battle it out. Are they good at close range? Are they good at melee combat? I don't know. We'll find out here in just a moment. It looks like the Ukrainians are down to about, let's see, about 2,000 troops, as where the Russians are down to 1,700. The Ukrainians, who greatly outnumber them. What could be a factor here? Is it that they arrived first and set up defensive lines? Is it their technology? I really don't know who's going to have a victory here today. They're really cutting through the Russians, but down to about 500 troops, less than 500. The Ukrainians pulling out with about 2,000 men here with a victory here today over the Russians. All right, let's play it again. Let's see at what happens next. Round 2, baby. Here we go. Welcome back, friends and fans. In the previous round, the Ukrainians rocked the Russians, but the Russians now going to get the chance to advance first. So let's see if that has a factor in the gameplay we're about to see for round 2. Who do you think's going to win? Let me know down below in the comments section. Let's select the Russian forces here and give them the chance to advance first. They've got 5,000 troops versus the 4,000 Ukrainians. Let's make sure all Russian troops are advancing. We don't want to leave any man behind. Not one step backwards, comrades, as we push into the Ukraine. All right, we'll give them a couple of seconds of advantage here to get up to that line. And let's get the Ukrainian forces pushing now. Again, remember the Strelets versus the Serduks or Sedudi. I don't even know. All right, oh, come on, the Ukrainian forces. Come on, all of them. Not all of them want to come up here. Come on, boys. God, Ukrainians, let's go. Push it. Push it real good. Come on, there we go. All right, all the Ukrainian forces are coming up now, funneling into that line. All the Russians, look at this parade of death. The Russians are in line. They've taken position first. Let's see here. It's hard to time these. It's coming out. Here come the frame rips. And let the battle begin. Ukrainians pushing in. They're not even attacking yet. Come on, boys. You're told to move and attack. Move and attack. Move and attack. There we go. All right. First line of Ukrainians are down. The Russians are pushing through. The Ukrainians starting to exchange fire against the Russians. It looks like the line's being held back for the time being. All the Ukrainians are even shooting through the wall a little bit as they're taking down the Russian Titan who is trying to push in. Wow, looks like all the Russian forces have assembled. Is that going to be enough to defeat the Ukrainians, though, as they're still receiving their reinforcements and their better technology? The Russians are advancing. It looks like the Ukrainians are engaging them from two different fronts here, both left and right, and holding the center as well to keep the beast back. Look at that, man, as the Russians are now starting to get through the gate area. and starting to push into the Ukraine. It looks like they've got all their forces ready to push. Oh my god, the Ukrainians are separating them, though, into two different forces. They've separated their forces and forcing the Russians to shoot into two different areas. Who's going to win this one? We're down to about 500 Ukrainians left to about 3,000 Russians. Wow, that timing on who gets an early start definitely does matter. Hard to control all these troops, but it looks like for the second round, it looks like the Russians have won and they're through to the Ukraine. Mr. Putin would be proud. Okay, let's go ahead and give it one more run. Who do you think is going to win down below? Winner takes all in the next round. Here we go. We are back for the final battle between the Russians and the Ukrainians. This time around, we're going to pause it and make sure everything is as perfect as possible, though everything is not equally balanced because the numbers are different, the skills are different, and of course that wall is definitely looking a little different. It looks like the worst hardwood floor in existence. So anyway, go ahead and get ready. Let me know who you think is going to win the final round now. You've commented for the first 2 times for each victory. Hopefully you were right, but who do you think is going to be the ultimate winner here? I'll give you a second to comment before we start the battle. All right, let the battle begin then. We're going to go ahead and start off by pausing here. And wow, that pause screen though. Let's go ahead and make sure we've selected all the Russian troops and make sure they are ready to move and attack. We're going to give the order several times to make sure all troops are pushing forward and have been selected to make sure the Russians are pushing through. Okay, same for the Ukrainians. Let's go ahead and give them the order to push as well. The Russians may start a little bit further behind the Ukrainians, but hopefully that extra force will give them what they need. We're only going to have our forces push up to here. Let's see if we can put some balance to the force. All right, looks like yet again the Ukrainian forces are not pushing forward, so let's go ahead and stop, wait for them. Ukrainian, come on, you guys got to get into line. Let's go. Push up, boys. Every one of you. Here we go. All right, we should have everyone selected now. Is that true? Yes, indeed. Everyone's going, except for a few last regulars. Damn you, Ukrainians. Get up there. Don't you want to defend your homeland? Oh, come on. Steve, Bob, Greg, and Dan. Let's go. Damn it. These guys. All right. Very good. All right, everyone's pushing up. All right, very good. All right, the Ukrainians pushing into line. The Russians pushing into line. A little bit of advantage for the Ukrainians arriving first, but that's just because they've got a smaller force, so I'm fine with that. All right, the Russians are pushing in now, funneling into the attack. Man, here goes the frames again. Who do you think is going to win? Oh, here we go. I'm excited to see 2 whale tails fighting against each other. We've got additional reinforcements for the Ukrainians coming in. A lot of the Russians are walking around stunned and dazed. It looks like they didn't get their caviar for today. They're wondering where exactly it is. Looks like all the Ukrainians are pushing into the battle. Let's get the Russians selected again. All right, man. Wow, what a slideshow. But what a show indeed. All right, let's go ahead and get all the rest of the forces up here. Russia, you got to make sure you're pushing through. Mr. Putin's got to be proud. All right, looks like the rest of the Russians got the rest of the caviar that they needed for today. The rest of that heavy rye bread has arrived. Wonderful. Come on, boys. Push through. God damn, all these guys are selected. Let's go. Come on. We got to beat those Ukrainians. Get in there. All right, very good. The Ukrainians are holding their line, too. Come on, guys. You got it. Looks like we're down to about 3,600 Ukrainians to about 2,000 Russians. What? Oh, it looks like the slow rye bread delivery and the caviar played a factor here today in today's game. What the hell? There's no way I can actually bring any sort of balance to this force. All the Russians don't get selected all the time. Look at this. I've selected these guys several times to attack, every time, and still refusing to do so. Well, come on, boys. Push in. There we go. Damn. All right, Russians are down to about 500 troops to about 3,000 Ukrainians. I think the Ukraine has won. Damn. It's always interesting to see these play out, but it looks like we've got a true victor here today with the Ukrainians and the technology battling it out in such a small area. It seems to be who arrives first, minuscule technology, plus, not to mention if their rye bread, caviar, and other things that they like to eat arrive on time. Of course, just a joke to bring you a little bit of entertainment, but that's why I like Cossacks 3. So there we go. Rest of our troops pushing through. Looks like the Ukraine is on the march to Moscow once again. All right, well, there you go. One victory for the Russians and another victory for the Ukrainians. But I would say, wow, you got to really hand it to the Ukrainians, man, because they're such a smaller force. Look at that, man. It's just like water pushing through an open spout. Look at that. All those troops condensed into such a small area. No wonder the frames were all ripped, huh? Look at that. Wow, amazing. All the Ukrainians now setting up a defense around the border. Quite awesome to see. All right, guys, thanks again for joining me here, and check us out again at twitch.tv/RatPack. Check out my friends too, Uthris, Bolt, and Nolan down below in the description, and thank you for subscribing, leaving a like, and just having general fun with me. We'll be back for more of this fantastic game, Cossacks 3, in the future. I'm loving these editor battles. How about you? All right, until next time, password Pimp and Strong, and I'll see you all on the battlefield. Bye.